It's time for the Ella Johnson Show. Thanks for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show, where there are two sides to every story. Enjoy the broadcast. Stay tuned.
Welcome, everybody, to the Ella Johnson Show.
Yes, you heard it. Great job, Charlotte. Great job. She's right. Welcome to the Ella Johnson Show. I am so excited that you have tuned in for this broadcast. This is Monroe County Uncovered. Well, I know we have a different scene tonight. You guys are normally used to seeing Dr. Pugh. Well, she'll be back next week. But we had to break this cycle to have this broadcast tonight. It's just that important. So I am excited that you guys have tuned in. If you're watching from Facebook, do me a favor and share the broadcast. Just share it. Type people's names in that you think would like to hear this broadcast tonight. And if you're watching from YouTube, do me a favor and just subscribe. I mean, you're already there. If you're watching on that streaming, please just subscribe to my channel. I would appreciate it. You can see I have a full house tonight. I'm excited to have all of my guests here from Monroe County Uncovered. But I want you guys to understand that tonight we are stepping into a story that is as complex as it is heart-wrenching. It's a narrative that began in Monroe County back in 2023. It is a story rooted in an allegation of sexual abuse that has profoundly impacted two separate families, but in a twist. This is what's so beautiful, that defies the expected lines of conflict. These two women are here tonight, not as adversaries, but on the same side. See, this is what I love about being able to work together. One is a mother whose daughter was allegedly molested. The other is the daughter of the man accused of that crime. Look at that. Tonight, they join me together in a shared pursuit of justice, a quest for answers for Charlotte that they both feel they have been denied for far too long. Okay, that's why we have Monroe County Uncovered. Now, before we begin, a necessary disclaimer. The families appearing on the Ella Johnson Show are here to share their personal perspectives and experiences. We understand that there are always two sides to every story. I say it every week. Now, I want you to know that the other side of this case is not present tonight. However, they were offered the opportunity to join us, or to at least issue a formal statement. Now, if they didn't do that, that's on them. This is about shedding light where there has been darkness. So we want you guys to stay with us. We have a lot coming up tonight for the Ella Johnson Show. Charlotte, you did amazing. That was just great. How did it feel?
It felt good.
Felt good? Well, good. Well, good. I want you ladies, I want Mom and Jess, I want you guys to tell me who you are and why you guys are deciding to be here tonight on the Ella Johnson Show. Start with you, Jess.
I'm Jessica, daughter of the accused, and I want Monroe County to do their job and put the right people behind bars. I mean, just justice like they're supposed to do.
All right. And Brittany?
Hi, I'm Brittany. I'm Charlotte's mom. I'm here to get justice for my daughter. The wrong person was put away, and both me and my daughter know that wasn't right how it went, and we want justice the correct way.
As you guys can see, we have justice for Charlotte. I want you guys to tag that right now. Hashtag justice for Charlotte tonight. Show her how much we care and that we're all here for the same goal, same purpose. Now, Miss Charlotte, I want you to tell us who you are, and why you're here tonight.
My name is Charlotte, and
It's okay.
I
What are you here for?
So I tell you what, tell me what it is that you want out of tonight's broadcast. What do you want people to remember about you tonight? What is it that you want? What do we got to do?
we got to put the man behind bars that did stuff to me and other people because it is not right to do stuff like that. And what that's all.
That's okay. That's great. That's great. Well, that is exactly what we're here for tonight. I'm going to talk to your mom and Jess because we're going to get into details, and I do not want you to be a part of that side of it. But you've done well, but we're going to call you back in the end. How about that? Because I got another question for you at the end of the broadcast. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. So we'll see you in a little bit.
Good.
All right.
Go ahead and can you lock the door on the way out? Yeah. Nope, yeah, I'll do it. Sorry.
No, that's okay. No, I want to make sure that she is she's away. Because we're gonna deal with some, things that I don't want her to hear. She's been through enough as it is, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I wanna start by there's some things I want to clear up before we even get started, because on my live before the live, I said that there were a couple of things I wanted to address. One of those things being that today I received a message from someone that I know that there was a message handed down from the mayor to send to me directly, which was to just kind of stop all these shows, stop talking about all of this, and just let's move on, or whatever his words were. I want to say publicly to the mayor, if that is true, first of all, because he didn't call me, he didn't message me directly, he went through someone else. The first thing I would like to say to the mayor is, moving forward, we can have an adult conversation. We can talk about the goals and where we need to go from here. We can easily do that, but we're going to do it in a respectful way. And the respectful way to do that, sir, is to reach out to me personally. Okay? You have my email address. God knows you know where to find me, because I think I live on Facebook. So in the future, if you would like to have an honest conversation, because just to tell me to stop talking, that's not going to work. Let me just start there. Okay. But to be able to have a conversation that benefits the community, I am always, always open for that. Okay. But it will be respectful. And this is not the way to do it. You're starting off on the wrong foot by sending a message to somebody else. So I would love to be able to speak with the mayor, the police chief, city council, anyone, because the other day I put a post, then I said that we're going to continue exposing different stories in Monroeville, and we are going to do that. And tonight is the first one. So they will continue. There are others to follow, but we are wanting justice. We want T. Tunstall's story to be transparent. We want the autopsy report, and we want body cam footage. We want all of that. In the meantime, we're going to have these shows. So I just wanted to make sure that you were aware, because I know that you guys may be watching. So if you're watching, just know that I don't have a problem sitting with you, but reach out to me yourself. Okay. Is that good, guys? That wasn't too mean, right? It was good. All right. So I want to start with you. I want to start with you, Brittany, because this situation happened in Monroeville. Now tell me, because I know you and your ex-husband, you guys had shared custody, and Brittany was there with Dad. So tell me, how is it that you guys had to have this kind of shared custody? Why were you split like this?
So him and we had got a divorce a few years before. And we ended up having visitation where he could take Charlotte on the weekends, however, spend time with him, and we lived in Florida at the time, and he had gotten married, and he lived in, I think you guys say it Monroeville. I say
Monroe.
Monroeville.
Down in good way.
And but so she would go over there on the weekends, or if it was like during the summer, she would go and spend a week. However, it was pretty. Once we got things good between us, I really didn't care when my kids went over there, and that
So
included
who
Charlotte.
all lived right? So who all lived in that house?
So it was my husband, his now ex-wife, and she would have two of her kids that would come. I think it was like every other weekend or so, and then whenever my kids would go on the weekend, it would be 3 to 4 of them at a time. So
Okay.
3 or 4 of my kids at a time.
Did she ever complain about anything going on there when she was there?
Charlotte, no.
No.
The only
Couldn't
thing I would ever say is like arguments, but it's like normal stuff that
normal
people.
stuff, yeah. So did you ever see, did she act differently? Did she come home ever sad or anything like that?
So she was very like a happy, super happy kid. Like she's back at that point now where she's just happy all the time. But I want to say, and it's kind of hard to put a timestamp on it because it wasn't until maybe I want to say maybe a month and a half, I noticed she started getting really, really angry, which is not a normal Charlotte thing. Everything was lashing out. Everything was, I hate this. I hate you. I hate living here. I hate all of this. She would be upset if she had to be at our house. She would be upset if she had to go to her dad. She would be upset at everything. And I ended up telling my dad about it. And my dad was like, "Well, do you think maybe she's being bullied?" And I didn't think about it like that. I've not at that time, like my kids had never been bullied as far as I know. So I didn't, that never even crossed my mind, but then it started making sense. Okay, maybe she is being bullied because this is completely out of character for Charlotte. And so I ended up asking Charlotte, I said, "Hey, baby, is anything going on at school?" And she goes, "No, nothing's going on." And this would be like whenever she's lashing out. Like at this point, like usually whenever she would lash out, normal, I'm not gonna lie, like I would get irritated and be like, "You better calm down," type of thing. But it wasn't until my dad mentioned, okay, maybe there's something going on, that like I started being calm about how I approach her whenever she does get upset. And I asked her, I was like, "Hey, is there something going on at school? Is anybody like picking on you? Is anybody doing this type of thing?" And she's like, "No, that's not happening. No, that's not what's happening." And so she just kept saying no, no. And so I was partially thinking, okay, maybe this is just an angry phase that's going on. But then it also still didn't make sense that her entire personality changed. And it was just it was scary how different she was.
Now, let's fast forward 2023. She did come home. And because I want to know, how is it then that you found out that there was something going on in that household?
So I put my kids to go lay down. I told them that it's bedtime. They need to go to sleep. They had school the next day. And my daughter and my son, my oldest, they always have a way of, play fighting. They play fight, they wrestle, they do all of this. And while they were supposed to be laying down, I went to go lay down in bed myself. And I heard Brendan call out for me, which is my oldest. I heard Brendan call out for me, and I left to go see what was going on because at this point I was irritated. They were supposed to be asleep. And
Right.
Brendan said, "Mom, Charlotte, how did he say it? He told me that Charlotte hit him. In his, private area. And I was like, okay, that's not nice. You can't do that. I talked to her, and she said she had an attitude and everything. She's like, that's not what happened. I said, okay, so why'd you hit him there? And she started like screaming and crying, and just it was so hysterical. Something was wrong, so I at the time I was on the phone with my sister, so she's hearing everything. She's hearing everything that's going on. And I pull Charlotte to the side. I said, baby, what is going on? And I said, why are you acting like this? And she just started yelling and screaming, saying that she hates me and that she hates Brendan and that she didn't want to be near him like that. I said, what do you mean you didn't want to be near him like that? And she goes, Brendan, while they were wrestling, Brendan wrapped his legs around her, and her face was, you wrestle, it was near a certain area, and she hit him there. And I said, why was that your, like, I get not wanting to be like that, but why is this your freak out like this? Why are you freaking out like this? Because I didn't want that to happen. And it was in that moment that I started thinking that
God give her strength.
this has to be something different.
Yeah.
So I told my son, I said, hey baby, I'm not worried about this wrestling thing right now. I need you to go to bed. I need you to go to sleep. I need you to go lay down with the other two. And I said, baby, I need you to be honest with me. Is this about something else? And she just looked at me, and she didn't answer. It was the way she looked at me. And like every part of me was fighting back, crying, because I didn't want her to freak out even more, that I know what that meant. And I said, baby, I need you to be honest with me. Has something happened? Has somebody touched you? And she stopped her screaming, like she was just, I'm telling you, it was full 180. It went from screaming, I hate you, to just silence. And she said, nobody touched me. He made me touch him. I was like, I said, what do you mean he made you touch him? And I said, who made you touch them? I said, was it just now? She goes, no, it wasn't it. I said, who was it, baby? He said, it was a man. I said, a man made you touch him? And she said, yes. And it was at that point, my sister was on the phone, and she said, she's like, Brittany, she goes, you need to go ahead and call the police, and you need to report this. I said, okay. And like at the time, I was sad for my baby. I was sad for her. I was pissed. I was shaking. My brain was going a freaking 100 miles an hour. I didn't know what to do in that moment. My sister was like, call the police. I was like, okay, one track mind, I'm calling the police. I told them exactly what Charlotte had told me. And they ended up coming to me. And in the time that they came to my apartment, and from whenever I called them, I asked Charlotte what all happened. She mentioned to me how he made her sit on his lap on the tractor, which that's what she called it because she was little. It was a lawnmower. And he would only let her sit on his lap when she had a skirt or dress. She told me about what happened in the truck. And I don't know how much of the details you want to go into, like you're wanting me to go in with that. But the truck thing was what got was where the worst of it happened.
I want you to share if you can, simply because this may end up being something that you may need to refer to later. So
Yeah.
if you can share it. How old is Charlotte at this time?
She had, at the time she was about to turn 6. So she was 5. And so she's 8 now. But what she had said to me, and this weekend, that it happened, it was supposed to be her birthday party that her dad and her stepmom at the time were gonna throw for her. Well, and so what she had told me is that her dad, her stepmom, and the 2 younger ones, which are her 2 younger siblings, had left to go to the store, and she was home, and that he was supposed to watch her.
Why would they even leave her with him?
I don't know. They still claim that they didn't leave her. They still claim that they didn't leave her, and it doesn't make sense because it doesn't.
None of their
The
stories
only
make
thing that I
sense.
can rationally think of is that maybe they went to go get her party supplies and they didn't want her to see it, so they went to go get it, because she did say they went to the store. So that's the only thing that I can think of, is like they went to go get party
That's
supplies.
reasonable. That's reasonable. Yeah.
And so what she had said is that he, and at the time she wasn't saying names. She wasn't, because it was like it was coming back to her. Like she said how whenever her and her brother were wrestling, it was like it all came back to her. So she had, pushed it back, and then that just kind of like brought everything forward. Well, she wasn't saying names because it was like everything was coming back in like waves of just, not everything was coming at once. She ended up telling me that the man was supposed to watch her while her parents went to go to the store, and she was in her room playing, and he said, do you want to go ride in my truck? And she said, no, I want to play with my toys. And he said, let's go for a ride in my truck. And Charlotte again said, no, I want to play with my toys. She said that he picked her up, and my baby girl, I love her, but she's a stocky one. And she said that whenever she got to the yard, he almost dropped her because she was heavy, and he said she was heavy. And she said that he picked her back up and put her inside of his truck and strapped her in, and then they went on a drive down the road. She said that it was just down the road that they live on.
Probably took her on the dirt road right past our house. It like comes out and goes to a dirt road. It's like not many people go on it.
Yeah, she the way she just described it, and from what I can remember, it's like long roads of like not a whole lot.
Nothing. Cotton fields.
But she ended up saying that he ended up asking her, do you want to play a game? And she said, no, I want to go back home and play with my toys. And he said, let's play a game. And she said, I want to go back. She said that what he did was she described that he had like overall, like not overall, but like straps that connect, you know, that go over his shoulders to his pants, like the suspenders type of thing. She said that he moved those to the side. He moved those to the side, and she had described this tattoo that he has because he unbuttoned his shirt. He unbuttoned his shirt, and I like right now trying to think of it. I can't remember what she said the tattoo looked like. Oh, she said it looked like a dragon or a bird. And she said that he unbuttoned his pants. I said, "Baby, did something happen?" She started crying and she said, "I don't want you to be mad at me." I said, "Baby, this is not something that you did. This is that man." And she said that he grabbed her hand. He grabbed her hand and made her put her hand. He tried to drag her hand over to him, and she pulled away. And when she pulled away, she yelled out no, and she said he smacked her for it. And she said that it hurt, and just so he wouldn't smack her again, she shut her eyes.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
She shut her eyes and just let whatever happened happen.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, I didn't hear a lot of those details before.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, she said that it lasted a long time, and it was with her hand. And that by time when he did finish, he drove home, and she just said that he told her that if she tells anybody, he will take her and lock her in a closet and nobody will find her. He said that he then told her to go to the bathroom and go clean herself. And she looked at her hands and she said, "Mom, I don't know what it was." She goes, "But there was something in my hands. It was dirty and it was clear and kind of white." I said, "Baby, I am so sorry that you had to go through that."
Yeah. It's okay. Take a minute. Take a minute. Take a minute. You know, this is not, if you're just tuning into the Ella Johnson show, we are discussing Brittany and Charlotte, Jess's story. These are very hard details to share. So I just want you guys to those of you that pray with her. This is all about justice for Charlotte. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. So you good now? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She said that she went inside, she did go and clean her hands, and she went and laid down, and she slept. She said she didn't want to think about it anymore. I asked her why she just went to bed. She said she didn't want to think about what happened, so she went to sleep. And I said, "What happened whenever you woke up?" And she said, "When I woke up, my dad and her stepmom, they were home." I said, "Did you tell your dad what happened?" She goes, "I couldn't remember." And I said, "It's okay. That's okay. It happens like that. No, it's fine."
Yeah.
And yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Oof. Okay. So after she told you, at this point, you call the police. And you call the police not in Monroeville, but in where you were living. Because you weren't living in Monroeville. Where were you?
That's correct. I called Santa Rosa County, the police department. We did an initial report, but they said that because it took place in a completely different state and different county, that everything had to be transferred over to them, and that they could take the initial report but it would have to go over to them. And that's where we waited for a phone call from them.
And when you say them, you're talking about Monroe, because now
Yes.
it's
Yes.
happened in Monroe, so you're waiting from them. And how long was it that you received a call from someone in Monroe?
I want to say it was probably a week or two.
About a week.
Like that.
And who reached out to you?
It was the investigator, Christopher Horton.
Christopher Horton. Okay. And how did they handle the investigation?
So they had us come in, they wanted us to come in and do a report with them. So I asked, because we live in Florida, it's an 1.5 to 2 hour drive, if we could, do it over the phone. They're like, no, you have to come in. So fine. We went there, and we did the report, and he immediately said, because one of the other things that Charlotte had said was that she could see him from the backyard. And that's where he said, that's whenever he said that if she stands in her backyard, she can see him. That's where Christopher Horton said, I think I know who it is. And yeah, Jessica. Yep. And he from that moment he had to go do oh my gosh. She had to go talk to somebody. I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't like a therapy thing. It was where
Like
they had
specialized trainers that interview kids for this.
Yeah, yep. It was like that. And she had to go talk to them. And whenever we were leaving from there, I want to say it was like, that was probably like a week or two after the report. He went, he went straight to Mark. Not Mark. He said, I think that we know who it is. And he goes, I think that it might be this guy. And that's where he pulls up Mark's picture. He goes, but I'm not going to say this to Charlotte. What I want you to do is show her these different pictures and see if she recognizes any of them. And Charlotte said, or I said, okay. So I showed Charlotte. He said, don't mention anybody's names. Don't point out anybody. Just let her look at them. And I said, okay. I don't remember how many pictures there were. But the way that she had described him, he was older. She said that he had kind of he wasn't skinny, but he had like a little bit of a tummy. Yeah. Yeah. And she said that he had gray hair, and that he looked like an old man. And so they came up with, their string of people that they wanted to go through. And that's where they had the pictures. I showed Charlotte the pictures. I said, does anybody in here look familiar to you? And she looks through them, and she initially says, she points at a few different ones. Mark was in one of those, but there were two other ones that she said it could possibly be. But she said whenever she saw it, she goes, I don't think it was any of them, but he looks kind of like these ones. And
so let's do this. I want to go back before I forget. So when she goes into this room with the people, were you there? When they were questioning her?
I don't remember. I think no, they did not let me go into that room with her. They because they didn't want her to look to me for any details. They wanted to get every detail from her. And whenever they got done, they didn't tell me exactly what she said, but what they did say is that everything they told her in there matched up to what she had reported.
So why didn't they just ask the people that live in the house who he was? Who did you leave her with? That would have been simple.
they kept denying that they left her with anybody.
Oh,
They
wait a
failed
minute.
her.
Oh, wait
She
a
got
minute.
failed
Wait a
by
minute.
so many people.
Wait a minute. So you're telling me that your ex-husband and the stepmom kept saying we didn't leave her with anybody. There was nobody.
Yep.
And you can't tell me
Wow.
after they heard the details of this case that they didn't think back and know. That is sorry. I'm sorry. As a mother, I cannot believe her being a mother herself.
Okay. So now this, oh my goodness. Who did they think was there at the house? She didn't make this person up.
Nope.
So who did they let in their home?
So at first it was and I think it was obviously it was them covering up, that they left her there with somebody. But they were saying, "Oh, Charlotte, she's a little kid. She's going to say what she wants to say or what she thinks." I said that's a problem though, because no little kid can describe what happens after somebody does that type of thing. No kid knows that. And for her to be able to explain what it looked like, what it felt like, she is not lying. So it baffled me how much they stuck to, no, we didn't leave her with anybody. This didn't happen.
Okay, so now they're showing her the picture. Let me see what kind of comments I'm getting over here, because I know Stephen is so.
And my dad didn't even live, by the way. My dad didn't
That's
even live
what I'm
here when
just
this
getting ready to
happened.
get to. I'm getting ready to get to that as well. So now you have they've shown her these pictures, and she said, "I don't think it's any of them."
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the reason Mark, Jess's father, was in it because they had him registered to your address, right, Jess?
On the app, not in the state. The state registry had it right, that app, though. Somebody
Oh,
needs to do better care on that Monroe app. They're a little behind on info. Like, they still had him pinged on my address like months after he was incarcerated.
so your father's was at that time was a registered sex offender, yes? Okay. We're not
And I don't
denying it.
knock them for starting that. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
knock them for starting there. But
Yeah.
after you see so many signs pointing to it's not him, obviously you have another person that you need to go pick up or investigate at the very least.
So they suspected him because he's a registered sex offender right next door. Right? And so she didn't pick any of them. So how did we get back to him being arrested? What happened?
So they kept pushing. Horton kept pushing. Oh, I'm for certain it's this guy. He kept saying, "I'm sure it's this guy. I know that it's got to be him. We just got to get him. I know it's him. I know it's him." And I'm not gonna lie. Like, I did go online and I saw that he was registered at that house, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's literally right next door."
And I
And
don't blame you.
I freaked out. Like, I really did freak out, but I never thought it would be who it was, you know? And anyway, so they just kept Charlotte ended up describing the inside of the truck, what things she saw on the inside of the truck that he had. She described the color of it. She described how many seats were in the truck. She described what type of things were in the truck. And some of those things matched to, I guess, whatever Mark had in his. And
They have the same
they,
truck.
yeah, yep. And he ended up telling me, oh, by the way, he ended up just getting a paint job, and it's probably to cover up the color of his truck. And but just from those things, he was like, all these things are matching up to it being Mark. We just gotta get him. And but yeah, every single time Charlotte would say, it looks kind of like him. It does look like him, but I don't think that's him. I don't think that's him. Never once did she definitively say it is that guy. All it was is he looks like him. And I think it looks like him, but it was, again, never definitive.
And nobody's going to blame her if she's not shown the picture of the person that actually did it. Obviously, I mean, she's a baby. She thinks one of those pictures has got to be it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there was so many things that obviously it's not him.
So for people watching, they're wondering, and I can feel it in the air. What links the person that was there to that house? Who were you suspecting? Did you know anybody else at this point? At this point, did you suspect that it could be anybody else other than Mark?
No, I'd only been there, 2 or 3 times, and it was literally to drop off my kids, if we didn't meet up somewhere. But I didn't know who goes there. I didn't know who they hang out with. I don't know any of that stuff. And again, like, I live an hour and a half, 2 hours away, so it's not like I can, come by, check on things, But so I never knew anything, and I guess the only thing that, like, didn't make sense was he let me ride his, like, she kept saying he let me ride his tractor. Again, it was a lawnmower. And because I was like, I don't know anybody who owns a tractor over there. So she ended up describing it, and I was like, she was saying that it was like green and you could ride on it. I showed her a lawnmower. She goes, "That's the tractor." I said, "Baby, that's a lawnmower. That's not a tractor." So it had to have been somebody who was there that, mows lawns. But again, I don't know who does that. It wasn't until later that that information was told to me.
So now they're set on, and when you say they, you're talking about the investigator, Mr. Horton.
Yep.
And
Yep.
he was at the Monroe County Police Department or Sheriff's Office? Which one?
Sheriff's Office.
Okay, there you go. I don't know. The building literally looks like the plainest building you could see, and I just know that he was an investigator. I didn't know if it was the police, or like if it was the sheriff's office or what.
Okay. So now, when did you hear about it? Let's move over to you, Jess. At what point did you hear that, hey, they're looking for your dad because they think he molested someone?
I mean, it took a while to get that information. So like right around Thanksgiving, my brother calls me. I'm sitting at the house and he's like, "Hey, I just went by," because my dad, again, they had him pinged at my address. He lived with his girlfriend like a couple miles down the road, down Goodway Road towards 21. So not very far. Again, don't blame him for being like in the mix of the investigation. I would have started there too, obviously. But again, my brother calls, like, I just rode by and there's like a crap load of cops surrounding Daddy's house. Like, have you talked to him? I'm like, no. So I go call my dad and can't get a hold of him. So I ride up over there and I'm like, is something going on? What is going on? Like, this is my dad's. What's going on? They're loading his truck up on a wrecker and they're like, we can't talk about it. And I was like, do you have a warrant for that truck? It's a crime scene. What? So, I mean, I'm thinking, okay, did he done like trespass somewhere, or like, I don't know. That was the last thing, because again, my dad is on the list, but he has been very careful to not even be put in a situation to have that, accusation. Like, I don't let my kids go anywhere by themselves with him, just because, again, this is my dad. It's a weird relationship. I love him though. But anyways, besides the point. So finally later through a friend of mine and a friend of Lisa's, of her stepmom. Well, do I need to say the name? I need to keep that quiet.
Yeah.
Keep it quiet.
Talk about too much.
Okay, yeah, sorry. So anyways, so Charlotte's stepmother, I've known her from school. We went to school together. We don't hang out, but I knew who she was. And we had a mutual friend that she ended up telling me, she's like, okay, I just found out that this is why your dad got picked up. And I also remember like months before that seeing police next door, because again, I live next door to where this happened. And I figured, I mean, I don't know, this is a good way. You see blue lights sometimes at people's houses. Folks are crazy. Um, so she told me that apparently first story I heard, again, this is hearsay, but like you had said, something about they went to the store and then she was riding with someone else and he did that. And instantly I'm like, what? Then why is my dad getting picked up? Because, okay, if they're going to the store and this little girl's riding with them, then they would have to know my dad. But my dad doesn't know them. And I checked with him and I even checked with the stepmom. Hey, do you know this man? Do you know him? She's like, no. I was like, okay, well, why don't you tell the police officers that? Because, most of the time, these situations are either done by someone in the family or close to the family. I mean, I thought that was common knowledge. So how is my dad getting in the mix? He doesn't know these people. Why would she be riding in a truck with him? He don't know them. Like, did they just throw her in the vehicle with a random dude? And number two, my dad has no catalytic converter. It stopped up. He's a mechanic-ish type. So he's cut that out. I can hear him crank up 2 miles down the road and drive by. Like, it's loud. You're not going to tell me. And that's another thing. When they tried to claim that they were actually there the whole day and supposedly somebody pulled up in the yard and did that, like, okay, you're telling me that my dad in his loud truck pulled up in your yard and doesn't know you and did that and then left and you never heard anything? What are you doing in your house?
That's
It
right. If
sounded
they were there,
crazy.
like they said, right?
Like nothing made sense that I heard, nothing that would put my dad in
Right.
it. And so I started, doing some asking my dad when I finally got to talk to him, what do you know these people? Like, what the heck? We couldn't get much information other than hearsay until I went to my dad's bond hearing. And when, I mean, when they told me something about them looking for a man with gray hair, okay, that's another. My dad's hair is very dark brown. Like, he started getting grays for being locked up so long for this, but he did not have gray hair. He did not have a beard. He has never worn suspenders, overalls, or anything like that. I don't think I've ever seen my daddy in a button-up shirt. He's usually in a t-shirt. I've seen him in a polo. That's his nice clothes, is a polo shirt. And again, it's just like weird. But when Officer Horton started talking about the lawnmower, the tractor, that's when it clicked who it is, because I've lived at my address next door to where this happened since either 2016 or 17. So it's been a long time. And I've only seen one person cut that grass, period.
Who
And
is that?
that's Jimmy Brown, the man that owns the house. And he's the only, and he used to like see me and my 3 girls next door, and he'd see us when he was cutting grass. He'd stop, hi, how you doing? Great kids, all this. He'd stop and speak to me like if we run into each other at Walmart, hi neighbor. Even though he didn't live there, we spoke. I mean, he's always been friendly. So when they said that, that's when it clicked for me, because my he never cut my grass when he was here. I have those type of grandparents that they like to do the yard work. That's how they, feel useful. They do that.
So here, I wanna, because I want to make sure I don't forget anything. The lawnmower. Did Mr. Horton ask who that lawnmower belonged to?
No, no.
Because I mean, in his investigative work, if she did, because here's one of the problems: you weren't in the room with Charlotte telling the story, so we don't really know what she said to him when she was in there. Did she give him as much detail, or what do we know?
So whenever we did the I guess the second report, which would have been whenever we first talked to Horton, I was there the entire time she told him. It was whenever they had to get her statement for like the child, it was some child something. I can't remember exactly what it was. That's whenever I had to be out of the room, because anything the way they said is that if because it was being recorded, all of that stuff, if I was in the room with them, then I would not be able to be in the courtroom if there was court. And so I had to be completely out of the room. But the initial time, whenever we did first talk to him, and she told him everything, I was there for that.
Did she give them all the detail that she gave you?
Yep. And every
So then,
time, like, anytime that something else would come up, and right now I'm trying to think of what else there. I know there was a couple other things that she ended up saying, but anytime there was something else she remembered, we would call him and let him know immediately. And but yeah.
so this is a good question. Who else in the neighborhood would have had access to Charlotte? Or no? Because it just seems like they weren't. Did they ask any questions to your ex-husband, first of all? Did they talk to him?
Yes. So they did not tell me exactly, everything that they asked him. What they ended up saying is that they tried to talk to him and he denied leaving both him and his ex-wife. They both denied leaving her, and that he ended up saying that they're both claiming, or at least her dad is claiming, that this is just my way of keeping her away from him, so that way she doesn't have to go around him. And like it was, me coming up with all of this for her to say. And that wasn't the case.
So the investigator should have been like, listen, if you guys are in the house and you were there the whole time and she was out of your space for all this time, where was she? If she's saying this happened, then where was she? If this, well, we didn't go anywhere. We were here all day. So you just had her out of your sight and you guys didn't ask questions? Like, if there's
Didn't
something,
check on
it's
her.
just so weird. It just seems so weird to me that they were able to deny leaving the house.
Yep.
And they had
And
to
another
know that it was
thing,
go ahead.
Lisa, stepmother, originally I had spoken with her and she had, like I said, confirmed she had no idea who my dad was. So I'm like, okay, well, you're going to tell the investigators that, right? She had agreed up until the bond hearing. Then she goes silent. I had to get her lawyer. I had to get my dad's lawyer to subpoena her. So that, again, that kind of confirmed the light bulb that went off when they were talking, like, oh, that's probably why she didn't want to come in and say that now, because, well,
But they did eventually arrest your dad.
Mm-hmm.
After that bond
November,
hearing,
I think 21st, 22nd, 2023, they picked him up very quick. And my issue is, like I said, I understand completely him getting looked at because of the situation and because of, his position, anyways, his past priors. But there were so many things that pointed to this,
yeah.
like, how are you as a police officer that zeroed in? That's unprofessional. That's dangerous in your position, that you can get so zeroed in on one person that you miss everything else. So now my children, your baby, every baby in good way is left to this man.
So they arrested him, but they eventually, what did they charge him with?
I really don't know how they worded it, but
Was it rape? Was it child
no,
molestation?
I think it was indecent acts with a child under something. Like, it wasn't rape, it wasn't sodomy, it was something like, it was
Yeah.
uh,
So they pick him up. Now, this is what's also weird. If he's a sex offender, he's not supposed to be around kids. He shouldn't have been living next door, but he really wasn't living next door. Right?
yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah. So he's arrested. And where did the tables turn that he ended up getting discharged from this and the case was dismissed from him? All charges
it
dropped.
took a long time. Like, after the bond hearing, like I said, the light bulb went off, and a few other people, again, that know my dad, we live in the community, we know the things going on. I mean, we're pretty tight knit around here. Most of us have been here forever. We know everybody, we know each other.
Okay.
Everybody's nosy. But so a lot of us were, agreeing, yeah, that sounds right. So phone calls were getting made. Phone calls were getting made to Boatwright. And it's nothing would happen. I asked the lawyers, I'm like, this is who needs to be investigated. Well, y'all need to find some proof. If y'all want him to get off, you're gonna have to find somebody else to give them. But that's not my job. But I did it. And I finally, about a year later, got the courage to reach out to Brittany, because again, it's not just about this being my dad. We're only accused. Like, this happened next door. I have 3 girls. This man cuts that grass, and no. So
So the
finally, I
lawnmower
reached out.
was the thing. This man cut the grass. What is his relationship to that house? Why would he be there?
He owns it.
He owns it. And is he related to someone in the house?
The stepmother. That's her uncle.
So he's there. He owns the house. So why is it that they didn't even think for a moment that maybe he came over?
That's what I was wondering.
I have honestly no idea. Charlotte ended up telling me that she tried to tell her dad and her stepmom who it was. After he ended up going to jail, after your dad ended up going to jail, and I had told her about it. I was like, baby, I just want to let you know that they did put him in jail. And she goes, Mom, immediately after I said that, she goes, Mom, they put the wrong guy in jail. And I said, what do you mean? And she goes, I don't think that was him, Mom. I don't think that was him. And she cried because she felt so bad that the wrong person went to jail. And so I ended up whenever they went to go pick him up, they went to go do all of this. First off, I didn't even know that he went to jail until months later. They did not tell me anything. They did not tell me, hey, by the way, we were going to go do this. Hey, by the way, he was picked up. They didn't tell me nothing. It wasn't until, again, months later, whenever I pushed for it. And I said, hey, what's going on with this? And they're like, oh, we picked him up. He's in jail. And anyways, I let Horton know that Charlotte is saying that they got the wrong guy, that she still is saying that she doesn't think that it's him. And I can't remember what he said after that. But I just remember her and I, we kept going back and forth, like, hey, are you sure that it wasn't the right guy? Are you sure? And it's just me trying to confirm with her, not being like, hey, it was him. It was him, by the way. It's just me trying to confirm, like, every so often, are you sure? You still believe like it was that it's the wrong guy, so we know how to proceed? And she kept saying it. Well, it wasn't until sometime after that she ended up going, being able to go back to her dad's, because since or no, it was before they ended up telling us that he had gone to jail. Because at the time they were telling me, we'll meet up with Charlotte, her dad and her stepmom. We'll meet up with Charlotte. We can still see her and all that stuff. She ended up telling me that she did mention to the stepmom. I think it was they got the wrong guy. And every so often she would tell me, I told them who it was. I said, what do you mean you told them who it was? And she goes, she wouldn't ever say like the name. Hang on, I gotta adjust. I'm like sitting on the ground, my legs. She wouldn't ever like say a name. She wouldn't ever say the name, but she would just say it's not the right guy. Well, I want to say it was.
But before we go to that, Brittany, she kept saying I don't think it's the right guy. How did she find out who they did arrest? Did she ever see the person?
Yeah. So whenever you're talking about Mark.
Yes.
So whenever they did arrest him, I did show her the arrest, like where he was arrested, and she looked at it, and that's where she was saying, they got the wrong guy. They put the wrong guy in jail. They put the wrong man in jail. And so, yeah, she did see him.
So she said it to you. That's one person. Who's the next person she said it to?
Said it to her dad. She said it to her stepmom. She's told my parents. The people that anybody who knew about it, she was telling them. They put the wrong guy.
Did we tell the investigator though?
I told the investigator. I did. So it was after this, whenever Jessica ended up messaging me, by that time I had got a new phone. So any record of whatever was there, me calling, me texting, was no longer there. I even tried calling Verizon to see if not Verizon, T-Mobile to see if I could get that stuff back. They weren't able to do it. but yeah, we did tell Horton that.
What did he say? What did he say?
He just said, no, we got him. I'm 100% positive this was him.
At this time, do we have another person's name to give?
I'm sorry?
At this time, did we have another person's name? We're saying, I think she's saying it's the wrong guy. Have you looked into, did we offer another possibility?
No, because I didn't know who else it could possibly be. Because there was only certain people that I knew of that she was around. Her dad, her stepmom. I knew she went over to her stepmom's brother's house every so often. So I would ask her, hey, could it possibly be these? What was it? These people? And she said, no, it was an old man. It was an old man.
So did Horton even try to see and go back over there and ask more questions? What did he do when you told him?
I don't think he did. He never told me if he did.
So how long was Mark in jail? Did he go to jail? Did he go to prison? Was he found guilty? What happened?
No. He's been in jail. He just got out 2 weeks ago.
For this?
What?
No, they held him on some other crap. But yeah, eventually, I think a year after we went to the DA, it was about a year after that before they finally, my dad called me, or it was either him, maybe the lawyer messaged me saying that it was finally cleared, but he was going to have to do a year, 31 months. Yeah.
So
he was in there a while.
31 months. Okay, so wait a minute. Let's get to the point where they dropped the charges. When did they drop the charges, and what were the circumstances around that? How did that happen?
I'm not really even sure how it happened. I just finally found out that they did let that go on him.
So what do you know? Because this is strange. Why did they just drop the charges?
I don't know. Whenever we had talked, whenever you and I had gone to the DA, and we had talked to them, I don't know what in the world transpired after that, except for that another investigator talked to me, and then finding out that your dad's charges, the charges were dropped. But they were not keeping me in the loop at all. It didn't matter how many times I called, nothing.
When you called the sheriff's office, who all did you ask for, and who did you end up getting? Who did you communicate with over there?
So I ended up, I was not talking to Horton again because after we talked to the DA, the new investigator, I cannot remember his name.
Let's talk about the DA. Why did you go to the DA?
So this was what, October, November, something like that. And we were, I ended up getting a random message and it was from Jessica, and I had no idea. I didn't know really who it was. I read the message and she had told me, she's like, hey, I'm the daughter of the man who was put in jail for this. She was basically asking me if I wouldn't mind talking to her. And I was perfectly fine with it because me and Shirley, we had already established, we think her dad was put in jail wrongly. And so we ended up talking to her, or I ended up talking to her. Charlotte was at school, but I ended up talking to her, and she's telling me how that it couldn't have been her dad. Her dad wasn't even living there. That it has to be somebody else, and that she believes she knows, who it was. And that's when she had told me about Jimmy, and I didn't know about Jimmy. Like, I didn't know. And so she showed me a picture, and one of the there it's of two men, one being Jimmy, one being, I don't even know who it was, but
I
it was
don't
somebody
either.
else. Somebody else. And he said, show this picture to Charlotte. Don't say who it is. And I said, okay. I wasn't gonna do that anyways, because even if I did want to tell somebody, I didn't want it to be where, oh well, now you can't use it because I told Charlotte who it was, you know? So I just said, hey, Charlotte, whenever Charlotte did get home. Jessica was just like, let her see the picture and then let me know what happens, or we can
Is
talk
this
about
the
it.
picture you showed her? Is this the picture you showed her? These right here?
Well, I sent her the picture of the man without the hat, and there was another man in that picture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I
There's
cut
another
it off
man.
for this. Yeah. But this is the guy this is the picture that you sent.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the picture I sent. And so whenever Charlotte got home, I was like, hey, baby, I got a question. Can you come here for a second? And she's like, yeah, mom. And at this time, again, it has been, what, over a year? Or it's been a year, yeah, over a year.
Almost 2 years.
And she
It
had
was
gone through
almost.
therapy. She had gone through therapy. She had gone, like, she had worked through her stuff. She went through it. She really did, and she got past it. So I thought we were good. We were fine. Obviously, there's going to be lingering things. I said, "Hey, baby, can you look at this picture and can you tell me, do these people, do you know who these people are?" And I showed her the picture, and she first looked at the other guy. She goes, "I don't know who that is." And she immediately she saw Jimmy's picture, and she screamed, and she broke down crying, and she said, "That is the man who made me touch him in his truck." And she kept screaming, and she kept screaming. I have never seen her freak out like that. It was like it was happening all over again.
And
And
this
that's
is where this text message comes in. You guys were talking about this on this text message, and you mentioned here that you asked Charlotte if she had ever met either of the men, and she broke down crying hysterically, pointing, saying he was the man who made her do it. And she was pointing at Jimmy Brown. Yes?
yes.
So now we got a situation where we have a man was he in prison? Was he in jail? Was he still in jail? Had he
In
gone to
jail.
prison? He was in
Mhm.
jail. So he was still in jail after all this time. So I'm trying to find the circumstances that made the Monroe County Sheriff drop the charges. What triggered, what made them do that?
So after we had talked, I had told Jessica that we were gonna go to a funeral. We had a funeral to go to in Alabama. And we had talked about how, since we're gonna be there, we can go straight to the DA's office afterwards. I ended up telling Charlotte, because it was for a family member, on her stepmom's side, that there is a chance we will see Jimmy. And but at the same time, we wanted to support her stepmom for what for what had happened. And
Right.
I'm not gonna say what happened, but
Right.
but we were there to support her, and she absolutely wanted to be there. I asked her multiple times, "Are you sure you want to go? Are you sure you want to do this?" I took them out of school. She said yes. She said yes. She wants to be there for her stepmom, and um, so I took the kids out of school. We ended up going to the funeral. I told Charlotte, um, that if at any time she feels, oh wow,
Wow.
I said, if at any time you feel like you are too afraid, that you feel uncomfortable, I want you to squeeze my hand and we will walk completely different, into a completely different area. She said, okay. I said, I want you to know that yes, we are here to support your, but at the same time, I'm not going to force you to be around someone that you don't want to be around. If at any point you want to leave, we will leave immediately. I'm not going to force you to stay. And she said, okay. She wanted to be there. She knew what could possibly happen, but she felt comfortable enough because I was there with her. So, we end up going to the funeral, and while we were while we were near where the casket was, she squeezed my hand and she said, "That's Jimmy." And she pointed to him, and I could see him, and he was on the other side of the crowd, but she could still see him. I said, "Okay." So we moved to a completely different area, so she didn't have to see him. Whenever that ended, there was, afterwards with the food and everything. Sorry, my kid's dad is calling me. Can you guys still hear me? Fine.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. So, we end up going to the where the food is. I end up getting the kids their food. We go to the back of the building because I don't want us to take up spots that's for like immediate family, like the family in general. Me and my kids, we can be off to the side, and we can leave all that for the family. And so we're eating, and Charlotte, like, she grabs my arm and she squeezes a bit. I said, "Are you okay?" And she goes, "Yeah." And she points like with her finger down, like kind of down. She pointed to where he was standing. She didn't want to be too obvious. This man is staring at her, and every so often through that entire meal, because at the time it was cold, the kids didn't want to go outside. The entire time he would find reasons to come near us. There was nobody near us. There was nobody near us where we were. He would come and stand near us, and so we would constantly have to like move into different spots until finally Charlotte was like, "Can we go ahead and go?" And I said, "Yeah." So we ended up leaving. It's where I let Jessica know, like, we're done and we can go to the DA. We ended up going to the DA, and
Do you remember who the DA was? Who was the
God.
DA?
Randall Jernigan.
Okay, there you go. I'm horrible with names. So he ended up asking us, why we're there. He had talked to I'm gonna say he initially talked to you, didn't he? I think he initially talked to you, Jessica.
Oh, I'm sorry. What? Oh, well, I think I like introduced us, or because I was talking to the wrong person at first, because it had been a while since I had talked to any of those. I try to avoid that place at all costs.
But this guy is not the DA. Was it Todd Watson?
Mm,
In 2023, Todd Watson was the DA.
I don't know. I might be having it
They're
wrong because
saying
some of
he's
them
their
names.
investigator. He was an investigator. He wasn't the DA.
so I don't
Go ahead,
remember what the
finish.
DA's name is called. I think at the time that we talked to him, it was 2024, because it would have been a year later, so it would have been 2024. But so anyways, he asked why we're there. I told him that we believe the wrong person was put in jail. Charlotte, I ended up saying that Charlotte, we had originally started the investigation. Charlotte had given information, and he stops me and he goes, "Well, let me hear it from Charlotte." So he asked Charlotte everything that happened. This girl, like, she remembered everything. Everything was the same. It never altered in any way. What he had done, what he made her do, the details that she gave were never changed. And she told him everything. And he said, he goes, he goes, "The man that they put in jail, is it the wrong man?" She said, "Yes." She said that she knows it wasn't him. And that, um, and that she knows it was Jimmy. And he said, that's whenever he told me, "I want to let you know that I am friends with Jimmy. I do know him. I am friends with him." And I told him, I said, "I hope that doesn't change. That does not change the fact that you're going to investigate this." He said, "I promise you it will not. I will pursue this. because if somebody does that to a child, it is wrong. It doesn't matter if it's one of my friends. So I completely believed him. Completely believed him. And then that's whenever we got the new investigator. Sometime after that.
And then what happened?
So then after that, the new investigator told me that they changed investigators because Christopher Horton, the way he said it is that Christopher Horton was upset that now we're saying it's the wrong guy. And so he's upset about it. So they switched who the investigator was going to be. And so that was going to be him. So I said, I don't know why he's getting upset. You would want to find the right guy who did it. And
real?
and he said, well, basically that's just how it's going to be. So there's a new investigator. So he said that he was going to take the time to look into the case, look at everything. He wanted to have another talk with Charlotte. He ended up saying he wanted us to come in, and I remember initially we could not go and see him. We could not go and see him because I was having car troubles, because it is a long drive, and my car was like a 2007. It had so many miles on it, so it was a horrible drive trying to get back and forth, and no AC, so that sucked. But so I had to get that figured out first before we could do anything. And I remember asking if we could do a phone call, and he said no, we would need her to come in and we'd need to talk. And he did end up asking me questions. I don't remember exactly what questions they were. It was basically the same thing that the other investigators ever asked me. It was like, what happened? When did this happen? What kind of things did she say? Just that way, they understood, like, I guess, the details or something. Anyways, we ended up getting it fixed, and I do remember, because I remember we had talked last night. We did end up going, but it wasn't until a bit, like, I want to say it was like maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, because I had to get my car fixed, and I don't have a lot of money. So, but yeah, we ended up talking to him, and that was the last time that I heard from that man. That was the last time.
That's the last time. Now, let's go back to something, because I think the part that disturbs people is the fact that the DA mentioned that this Jimmy Brown person, he's friends with him. Okay. But he did say, doesn't matter. I don't know why he would tell you that, if I don't know what would the relevance of him telling you that he was friends with the guy. I don't know if he wanted you to recant, say something differently. I don't know what the purpose of that. So I don't want to speak for him, but all you know is that you never heard from him again. Did you hear that the case was closed? Like, where did they leave it with you?
They left it at whenever we did that we went in, and Charlotte did that next report, or that report, like, with him, letting him know what had happened in her words. And so after that, nobody ever got in contact with me. But then again, it was far and few in between that any of the investigators, or that the last investigator, even let me know anything, except whenever he was sure that it was Mark. Like, he was adamant about that, and he would let me know. But any other details, it was very far and few in between. So whenever it came to this new investigator, I didn't hear anything from them. I tried calling the DA, like, even this past year. We moved, but I still wanted to know what was going on, because I know we're moving back. We're moving back to Florida. So, like, I still want this to go, and my baby deserves justice. And so I called multiple times to to the investigator. I called, and I tried looking. My phone has changed. I don't have that investigator's number anymore, and that I don't know what in the world is going on. But I tried calling the investigator. I messaged the DA. I even called. I can't remember what that whole thing is called. Is it the courthouse? I tried calling the courthouse to see if they know who I'm supposed to talk to get in contact about my baby's case. nobody got back to me. Nobody has said anything. Nobody has given me any details. It was like nobody was calling me back. I was leaving voice messages, nothing. Sorry, I'm getting heated.
And I know, I hear you. I
Yeah.
hear you. And when was the last time you tried?
I want to say it was maybe a month or two ago. We've had different things going on for an accident that I was in, so we've had like our minds in other places too. But I know it was a couple months ago for sure.
So this is a good question here. I saw that Scheisenberg also had asked this question. If the DA knew the person of interest, did he excuse himself, bringing a special prosecutor? That should have happened. Anything like that happen? Because now you made it known. You made it known. Most people usually keep it inside, but he made it known
that they were friends.
I got a special interest in this. You might as well have said that. And he stayed on the case, right? But you didn't hear anything else. But this is the thing, that they dropped the charges. Why did your dad do 31 months or 30 months? Why did he do so long?
A lot of that time was waiting. It takes forever to see a grand jury around here. But so like it was a year of waiting to get them to listen. And then whenever they dropped that, he had got in trouble at one time. See, before he lived at my address, he was living with his then girlfriend down the road where he was living at whenever he got arrested. But from what I understand, her daughter was on probation and she's 17, which he's not allowed to live in a household with anyone under 18. And he knows that. But his girlfriend's daughter did not live in that home. She lived at her grandma's that she's lived forever. Like I've known my dad's now ex-girlfriend and her kids and everything. She's always lived at her grandmother's. She just had her paperwork and her probation work done at her mom's. Now, I may be a little off on some details, so somebody can correct it, but this is just from what I understand. So she had got in trouble. She ran away, and so they had to call the law to find her. And when her probation officer got involved, they're like, well, this is the address she's supposed to be at, and now you're here. So, but see, he got picked up on that. And at that time, this was like a while ago. I can't remember exactly when. But at that time, after he got out for that charge, they had all talked like they knew it was a technicality because, again, Monroe County, we know everybody. They know that girl had always lived physically at her grandmother's for the most part. So they talked like they were just going to, let that one, it was a technicality. Like he was not living in a house with someone under 18. That girl was never there. Her probation work was there. And when she ran away and got in trouble again, it just kind of blew the top off. And that's when he moved back in with me after that incident. And then when she turned 18 and moved out again, he went back to live with his girlfriend. Because on the list, you can't live with anyone under the age of 18. That I think you can't, like, if it's someone direct kin to you, like with me, obviously I'm his daughter, which again, because of who my dad is, my children are never left alone with him because I will not even give the opportunity for that thought to entertain in my mind or anyone else's,
Right.
the mama and me. But anyways, so
then in other words, Jess, he did more time because of that situation.
Yeah, they held him down probably to get some work out of him too. He's a handyman. If y'all look on that Monroe County app, he's helped Monroeville do a lot of work while he was incarcerated, which I'm glad though. Yeah. Honestly, it inspires some of them other boys in there.
So we don't really know exactly when. So right now, the status of your case is what? That it's closed, dismissed. What?
I personally had no idea what it was. I had no idea until I talked with you guys. So,
So tell me, what do you want, Brittany? What is it that you would like to see happen?
I would like the correct man to go to jail. That's where he deserves to be. There is no reason for him to be able to be out there and do this to other little girls, or little boys. You never know. And it was wrong that they were so quick to put somebody else in jail and didn't think that about, another person that was even closer to the situation.
Because I'm so curious about this evidence that would warrant. How did they get a conviction? Did they get a conviction? And if so, how did they get one? So he was just in jail, he was never convicted.
He was in jail awaiting trial. And again, there's people in that jail right now who are waiting trial, have been in there for I don't know how long. It's another problem with Monroe County. It takes forever for grand jury. And there's some people, if you don't have people pulling for you on the outside, you'll get forgot about out there or in that jail. They will straight forget about you. It's really sad. Like, I understand, if you break a law, you're going to go to jail, but you're still a human being. Just because you make one mistake does not mean that you are just god awful bad person, and you still deserve the right, the truth, the justice. And just like if you're a police officer, you can't go about things the wrong way in an investigation, or you're just another criminal. If you can't separate your own personal feelings from a case you're investigating, you don't need a badge.
So
That's
apparently
dangerous.
the case is at a status of being dismissed. So if you can prove the city and or county are failing to prosecute, that is enough to get the state law enforcement involved. That's exactly what I think you should do. Because at this point, Monroe County has shown you that they have no interest. I mean, all of this information I think is necessary to be told. That he had a personal interest. That's the sad part about it. There's no proof other than you saying it. There's no other proof that this is what took place there, other than you now saying it publicly.
I wish I would have recorded it. But
Yeah.
he did say, we are friends. I do know him personally.
So if you were able to get a meeting with, let's say, the sheriff there in Monroe County, which is Sheriff Boatwright, would you be interested in a conversation with him about this case?
Yeah, as long as it goes to them going and pursuing Jimmy, for sure.
Okay. And we did see a message earlier that there's been witnesses that said this guy has done this to other girls. So what I would like to encourage is that if you are watching this broadcast and you are one of those people and you know that this man has hurt little girls, it's time for this to stop. So we're asking here on the Ella Johnson Show that you would come forward, reach out to the show, and let's figure out a way to go to these law enforcement, state law enforcement, and see if you can't get something done. I mean, are you willing? Is that your next step, Brittany?
Yeah.
That's your next step.
I mean, I already told Charlotte, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I am very clueless with what I can and cannot do. Like I told Charlotte, I told Charlotte that, us being over here, it's probably hard for us to be able to do anything. But since we are moving back, we're moving back in January. I told her we're gonna go straight, like once we move back, we're going straight to Alabama. We're gonna go talk to those people in person, talk to whoever we need to. We're gonna make a trip out of this, because it's ridiculous
I'll go with you again.
Yeah.
I think that at this point, I think that it is time to get the state involved and then get you a person assigned to you at the state level and let them tell you what to do next. Because what we don't want is for you to get caught up in the Monroe County hush again. Yeah. And then we're looking at 2 years down the road and nothing still's done because they're trying to hush it along. No, this is how we're going to move their hand is for someone else to get involved, and now they have to answer to the state. Look, this is what happened in this case. So I think it's important for us to at this point, for you, I mean, and obviously you're going to decide to do it however, but it looks like Stephen here has another witness. Well, I think that what has to happen is, if that witness is not willing to come forward, then you got to carry on. Okay. You have to carry on, because there's no time to wait. You want justice for your baby. So this is my opinion, is that you should go to the state first and see what they tell you to do, what next to do.
My own
Because
thing is, I don't know how to do that. I don't know who to contact. I don't know who to.
we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. Everything is available for us on the internet, on what to do next. Because I mean, right now, Monroe County has dismissed your case. There is no case. There is nothing to even reference. It is dismissed, meaning they felt like they've done everything they could on this case. There's nothing else they can do. So I think that it's going to take state law enforcement to cause them to reopen this, and why they need to reopen it. Because now you want them having to answer to the higher people than trying to play pussyfoot, calling you back, because that may be what it ends up. So now I think that if you go to the next level, they will force the sheriffs to do what needs to be done at this point. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that, what you should do. I know that Stephen is offering his assistance as well, but you want to definitely make sure that you do what's best for you, so that you can get the results you need. Because at this point, Monroe County, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, it appears that Monroe County has failed you. Do you feel that way?
Oh, absolutely. I've told my kids since they were very little, and I've tried to instill this in them, that I want them to tell me anything. I need them to be as comfortable with me as possible, so that they can tell me if anything were to happen to them. Doesn't matter if it's somebody hitting them, or it could be, as bad as something like this, or worse. And because I cannot help them if I don't know anything. And whenever Charlotte told me, I told her I would see this to the end, and I would make sure she had justice. And if I have to go higher and higher and higher, I will do that for my baby.
There it is. That's what it is at this point. Go higher. But they're saying that do an open records request, get what you can get from the case file, at least the initial police report. That is true. You need to do it for you. So that you can, because that's a request that you could do to get the information you need for your case, because you need something to give to the attorney general. They're going to want to see something on the case. So you're going to have to do some homework first, get all your records in line, because it's really weird, because we saw that Mark is not even on the sex offender registry list anymore, right?
Yeah.
We were both
Yeah.
looking today. It's so strange, like this thing went into a black hole. So that's going to be the best way to do is, and what we can do is draft a letter. But here's the thing though, because they're very funny about how you get records. You're not an Alabama resident.
Nope.
That's where it gets a little tricky, because you're not an Alabama resident. So you can only get information. God knows if that were the case, I would have sent so many letters up there. But because I'm
But
not
shouldn't
Alabama
she able to be able to get it, since they're or her daughter's the victim?
well, I don't know. If we can get someone in the state to take this seriously, they will.
Yeah.
Okay. ABI. We're getting all these different Alabama Bureau of Investigation. We got some homework to do, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got some homework to do. Call ABI. That's one way. Alabama Bureau of Investigations, and you can easily find their phone number. They can lead you in the right direction. But I would definitely, one thing I would do after you get off this call tonight, go and write down everything that we talked about tonight, and just kind of get a timeline of events together. That's dates, times, people, names, all of that kind of stuff is very super important. So you want to definitely have that kind of stuff. So yes, I'm on the Facebook broadcast. Okay. I don't know. Maybe he was answering
Hi.
somebody else. You're entitled to that. You're entitled. Okay, so what they're saying is, yeah, you are entitled to everything because this does involve you. So that's good. So that's one place to get started. So is there anything else that you saw in this case? Like, what made you decide, you know what? Yeah, I want to come on here tonight and talk. What made you decide to just go ahead and do that?
We hadn't heard from anybody. I tried for months contacting somebody, and I've left voice messages. Nobody's called me back. Nobody's answered phones. And Charlotte has already told me before, um, that, and this was over a year ago. Over a year ago, whenever you know we were talking about it a lot. She wants people to know what has happened, so that way it doesn't happen anymore, and the right people can be put away. And she wants other little kids to be safe, and she has told me that. Like, I mean, I want the same thing too. So,
So I want to do something tonight, but I want your permission because you're the mom. I want to know because we said that she's told everybody that it wasn't the right guy, that wasn't the guy who did it. Um, so what I'd like to do with your permission is, can I bring that picture up that we looked at?
mhm,
And I want her to tell me here on the Ella Johnson show who it is that hurt her. Is that
yeah,
okay if I do that?
yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Okay. Let's bring her back. Now, before we do that, I want to share this with the audience. Okay, audience, if you are just tuning in, this is what I want you guys to look at. This is a case where the man on the left here with the hat on is the man, Mark Wayne Smith, who was arrested, put in jail for molesting Brittany's daughter. Now, Jess here on the show is his daughter. The man on the right is Jimmy Brown, who lives in Monroeville. Um, and he is the one that the daughter has stated was the man who hurt her. So, what I'd like to do, of course, obviously with the mother's permission, I want to bring them up here and I'm going to ask her who hurt her. So, Charlotte, hi, honey.
Hi.
Let me remove this first. I just want to talk to you again. So I had a long conversation with Miss Jess and Mom, and guess who we were talking about? You. How does that feel?
I don't know because I don't know what you guys are doing.
Oh, you walked into that one. Oh, I love it. The girl sharp. Well, we were talking about getting you some justice because, before the show, you and I had a little chat, right? And you
Mhm,
were telling me that, somebody hurt you.
mhm.
And what would you like to tell everybody that's watching here? Because there are a lot of people watching and they love you and they're really rooting for you that you get justice. What do you want them to know about all of this?
I'm thinking.
Fine.
uh, I actually don't know. But
What do you think people should get from this? Like, what do you want them to know?
I want them to know that it's okay to tell other people if stuff happens to them like this.
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
I want people to know that they're safe.
Anything
That's
else?
good.
I don't know.
So Charlotte, the person that hurt you, how bad did they hurt you? How did it make you feel?
It made me feel like it made me feel like kind of like scared, but also like for me, I felt like a little like since I didn't tell anybody at that time, uh, I don't know.
It's okay.
It's okay. It's okay. Okay. So, ooh, ooh, no, 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 no. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay.
She shouldn't know how this feels.
It's okay to talk about it. It's okay to talk about it.
It's okay, baby.
And that's how you get through it.
I'm crying right along with you. We're all angry. We are all so angry at what happened to you. But we're gonna all work together, Charlotte, so we can help you. Okay?
Yeah.
I
Do you like
promise
that?
you, good way, good way will make sure he knows he's a piece of crap.
That's right.
Okay.
I got one more thing. Can you do me a favor? Can you do one small favor for Miss Ella? One more thing, and then we're gonna go. Okay? I want there are people out there that don't really know who hurt you. And so we want to look in this camera because we got to tell them who hurt you so we can go get them. Okay. So if I put their picture up on the screen, is it going to be okay for you to tell me who hurt you? Can you do that for me? All right. I'm going to bring it up on the screen, and I'm going to ask this one last question. Was it the guy with the hat on that hurt you, or the guy without the hat?
The guy without the hat.
So for the record, she has identified Jimmy Brown.
Yes.
Okay. That's it. We're not going to talk about it anymore. But I did tell you, I'm going to make sure that you get your own personalized children's book. Mom's going to give me your address, and I'm going to put your name in it, and I'm going to leave you a nice message, and I'll probably put a nice little gift with it as well. And we're going to send this to you from the Ella Johnson Show. Okay? Is that good?
Mm-hmm.
And because you are such a sweet girl, we're going to also, whenever I write my next children's book, you will be a character in the story. All right? Because you're helping a lot of people. You're being very brave. And Miss Ella really loves you. And if I were there, I'd give you a big hug. I'm proud of you today. All right? So do you want to get ready to tell everybody? Do you want to go ahead and tell everybody to have a good night? Before we go, though, Jess and Brittany, what else did you guys want to add before we go?
Mm-hmm. I think we covered it. I think I covered it.
So we know that our next move. We know what we got to do next, because we got to get justice, and we're making a promise to her on this night, July 2nd, 2026, that we are going to do everything we can, Miss Charlotte, to help get you some justice. Okay, is that good? Say, I'm holding y'all to it.
I'm holding y'all to it.
All right, y'all heard it. That ain't come from me. She said it. All right, guys. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get ready to get out of here. You've done great, Charlotte. You started the night for telling everybody, welcoming them to the Ella Johnson Show. So I want you to say, okay, everybody, have a great 4th of July, and we'll see you next time on the Ella Johnson Show. Go ahead. He's like, wait a minute. I didn't know I had to say all that. I didn't come here to work. She has that look like, I didn't come here to work. That's your job, Ms. Ella. Let's make it simple. Just say, have a great evening, everyone.
Have a great evening, everyone.
There it is. All right, guys, listen, I want to thank all of you so much for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show. I know this was a tough subject tonight, but we got to have these kinds of situations, because if we are going to take care of our children and our future, we got to make the good calls, and we got to stand in the gap. And these are those times. Just like I said in my book, our children are our future. All right. And we have to invest. And this is my way of doing it for our children of the future. This show was dedicated to you, Miss Charlotte. And I just want you to know that we love you here on the Ella Johnson Show, and we are right there with you. Everybody have a safe weekend, And you'll see me again on
Bye.
Sunday night, right here on the Ella Johnson Show. We'll be back live at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show. We'll see you next time.
We are supporters of the Ella Johnson Show. We live in South Korea. We have been watching Ella Johnson Show for like a year now. And we love her show. Her show is very inspirational, motivational, and educational.
If you would like to be a guest on the Ella Johnson Show, send an email to theellajohnsonshow@gmail.com or send a text message to 407-334-6997.
We love Ella Johnson Show.